Every year, millions of Indian students hit a massive academic crossroads. In the rush to secure a future, the sheer volume of choices becomes paralyzing. When families don't know what to do, they fall back on the default societal advice. Take a popular stream like science or commerce now, and we will figure the exact career out later. That mindset drives students straight into massive coaching factories. You pay for conformity, sitting shoulder to shoulder with hundreds of others, memorizing material you might not even care about. Delaying the decision removes the student's directional anchor before they've even begun. Relying on the illusion of keeping options open strips students of their agency and leaves them entirely exposed to shifting market realities. By 2026, the gap between the degrees people hold and the skills employers actually want is projected to peak. This flowchart maps your two choices. There's a growing mismatch between generic degrees and modern, high-growth jobs. If you take Path 1 and guess your stream, you mathematically increase your chances of graduating into a dead-end skills mismatch. So we have to map the exact return on investment of the wait-and-see approach compared to getting a scientific picture of your career today. Basing your child's professional trajectory on what the neighborhood tuition center is teaching is a high-risk gamble. This comparison matrix tracks the true cost of that gamble over 3 years. Let's start with Path 1, where families pick a stream based entirely on relatives' advice or tuition trends. In year 1, this approach seems appealing because it involves no upfront friction or immediate cost. But notice the steep drop in market alignment. By year 2, the student inevitably struggles. Parents force academic alignment by paying for extra tutoring, and that financial spend skyrockets to between 15 and 25 lakh. To justify that massive expense, students are pushed into standardized exams they never naturally aligned with. That is 2 full academic years spent chasing a goal that doesn't match the student's mind. The free advice from relatives ultimately costs up to 25 lakh in misaligned coaching fees. The realization usually hits during Class 11 midterms. That's when a student's natural learning preferences violently clash with the rigid demands of the wrong stream. Every exam becomes an exercise in high-stress, low-reward anxiety. The material doesn't stick because the student is mismatched to the subject. When you force a student to compete in an arena outside their natural strengths, their confidence quietly breaks down. Then the final results arrive. The immense financial and personal effort forced upon the student doesn't translate to grades, leading to shock and emotional fallout. The wait-and-see approach frequently produces a student who is unmotivated and burnt out long before graduation. This comparison matrix returns to show Path 2, the Lume Live method. Families commit to a comprehensive psychometric assessment before any stream forms are signed. We measure 4 specific metrics: personality patterns, career interests, values, and learning preferences, syncing them together to form a solid baseline. This path requires an upfront investment of 999 rupees and the emotional maturity to pivot away from a prestigious career if the data shows it's a bad fit. A clinical psychologist leads a one-on-one expert debrief to translate that raw data into a practical, reality-based roadmap. This professional guidance merges career data with emotional well-being. It identifies early signs of stress so you can prevent the exact anxiety we saw in Path 1. Spending 999 rupees today for one honest conversation avoids the risk of misspending lakhs later on a path that was never the right fit. You cannot build a high-growth career on guesswork. This scorecard defines who Path 2 is built for: parents who want decisions driven by objective data, not relative pressure. It's also for students overwhelmed by peer comparison, who need a private, non-judgmental space to separate self-worth from marks. Families should avoid this path if they want an automated test to validate a predetermined choice. The Lume framework relies on active participation and a willingness to have structured conversations about data. Achieving true career clarity requires abandoning the temporary comfort of following the crowd. Bridging the gap between generic advice and actual job readiness is daunting, but you do not have to do it alone. You can start with the lowest barrier to entry: a 100% free 60-second career snapshot to gauge baseline interests without a paywall. If your family needs a structured start, book an introductory 49 rupee wellness session to discuss your concerns directly with a clinical psychologist. The alternative is to simply wait and see, while the market shifts around you and costs continue to steadily rise. Your child's future deserves direction. Choose data over pressure and lock in your career trajectory today.